Welcome to the Cosmic Busker. My name is Bobby Cody. In this video, I want to take a look at an article I came across. The article is about the Permian Extinction and volcanoes, where scientists had paleontologists I believe it was, had come to the conclusion that the Permian extinction, which was 252 million years ago, was the largest single extinction ever on the Earth. If I'm correct, the wipeout of 96% of marine species, 70% of land species. It heralded the age of the dinosaurs. After this, things started to recover. Dinosaurs ultimately began to rule the Earth at that point. Lasted up until I think it was 60 million years ago. I'd have to look at that. So this is the period the dinosaurs took over after the Permian extinction. I've done 2 videos on this, and where I have my own hypothesis on that. I connect the Permian extinction with what I call my exploded Earth hypothesis, that the Earth was once larger in a different part of the solar system. That's why we have plate tectonics. Our Earth is essentially cracked like you wouldn't believe. So I want to take a look at 2 I'm going to provide links for a couple of videos I did on that. If you'd like more information on that, we'll delve into that in this video though. There's 2 articles I want to take a look at. The one article is the article that made me create this video. We're going to do second. First, I want to just introduce you to this other article, to the subject matter regarding volcanoes in this certain area. So we're going to cut to the first article right now, which is an older one, and then we'll cut to the newer one right after that. This first article comes from 2015. It's regarding the Siberian Traps, the Permian extinction, mass extinction, etc., etc. Let's cut to that right now.
Okay, this comes from an MIT or Massachusetts Institute of Technology website. Headline reads, Siberian Traps Likely Culprit for End-Permian Extinction. The article was written by Jennifer Chu and is dated September 16, 2015. New study finds massive eruptions likely triggered mass extinction. Around 252 million years ago, life on Earth collapsed in spectacular and unprecedented fashion, as more than 96% of marine species and 70% of land species disappeared in a geological instant. The so-called End-Permian mass extinction, or more commonly, the Great Dying, remains the most severe extinction event in Earth's history. Scientists suspect that massive volcanic activity in a large igneous province called the Siberian Traps may have had a role in the global die-off, raising air and sea temperatures and releasing toxic amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere over a very short period of time. However, it's unclear whether magnetism was the main culprit or simply an accessory to the mass extinction. MIT researchers have now pinned down the timing of the magnetism and determined that the Siberian Traps erupted at the right time and for the right duration to have been a likely trigger for the End-Permian extinction. We can now say it's plausible, says Seth Burgess. The connection is unavoidable because it's clear these 2 things were happening at the same time. Around the time of the End-Permian extinction, scientists have found that the Earth was likely experiencing a sudden and massive disruption carbon cycle, abnormally high air and sea temperatures, and an increasingly acidic ocean, all signs of a huge and rapid addition of greenhouse gases to the atmosphere. Whatever triggered the mass extinction, scientists reasoned, must have been powerful enough to generate enormous amounts of gases in a short period of time. The Siberian Traps have long been a likely contender. The large igneous province bears the remains of the largest continental volcanic event in Earth's history. literally a singular event in Earth history. It's a monster, Burgess says. It makes Yellowstone look like the head of a pin. It's thought that as the region erupted, magma rose up through the Earth's crust, essentially cooking sediments along the way and releasing enormous amounts of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, into the atmosphere. This paper nails it, said Ernst, who was not involved in the study, given that they have dated a portion of the Siberian Traps occurring just before, during, and only for a short time after the extinction. This is the smoking gun for this large igneous province being fully correlated with the extinction. At this point, additional dating and other studies will simply provide more details on the link.
So here we had in this 2015 article, they're tying in what are called the Siberian Traps into the extinction. The timing is just boom, boom, boom. I mean, this happened 252 million years ago. The extinction happened 252 million years ago. It appears that all these eruptions, about 300,000 years long, coincided with all of these massive extinctions. So it says, Permian extinction 252 million years ago, Siberian Traps, which were these volcanic eruptions like you wouldn't believe. There's magma coming all over the place. The eruptions happen not as volcanoes, but cracks. Cracks in the ground release all this magma and these gaseous gases. So again, this follows up all with my exploded Earth hypothesis. Under that, 252 million years ago, Earth was a part of a larger body, maybe a much larger planet, or perhaps even a moon. I don't take that out of the question that we were a moon of a much larger body or planet. That this would cause cracks, obviously, and I stated that Earth, the reason we have plate tectonics, which are cracks in our surface that cause our geological movement and the geology and mountains, that these cracks are the result of this destruction that happened 252 million years ago. So once again, we have that in this article. They're talking about the cracks, releasing the gas, etc. I just want to go into this one quote. It's literally a single event in Earth history. It's a monster, Burgess says. It makes Yellowstone look like the head of a pin. This is important. Yellowstone is the single largest volcano on Earth. It's Yellowstone National Park. I think it's in Wyoming. What causes Yellowstone is known for its geyser that shoots out water, warmed water to spring. The reason that it shoots this out is because there's actually a underground volcano that causes these geysers to shoot out. They heat water and water shoots out. It's a very simplistic explanation of what happens. Yellowstone is the largest volcano in the world. If that ever blows, you're talking about a worldwide calamity. It would cover the United States, or much of the western United States, in ash, like 3 or 4 feet. So this is a massive volcano, the largest volcano in the world. It's underground. When it blows, it covers itself. It's so big. That's how big Yellowstone is. And he says this explosion that happened 252 million years ago makes Yellowstone look like the head of a pin. Wait a minute. This is the largest volcano in the world, Yellowstone. And what happened 252 million years ago makes it look like the head of a pin? What possibly could be so traumatic and so dramatic that it would make the largest volcano in the world look like the head of a pin? If the Earth exploded. There's no doubt. Just like my hypothesis says. I've provided links to those two. We're going to go to this article that just just came across yesterday or today. I'm not sure. We'll see in the article. But it talks about the actual link. They found a link in the form of mercury. They found mercury in the rocks of this time, and they found mercury in fossils of the time. So it provides essentially a link to life die-off and the eruption. Let's go to that article right now.
Okay, this article is written by SideNews.com. It's published on April 17, 2019 by the news staff. Volcanic eruptions caused End-Permian extinction. New evidence confirms. An international team of paleontologists from China and the United States has found high levels of mercury in End-Permian marine sediments, nearly a dozen sites around the world, which provides persuasive evidence that volcanic eruptions were to blame for the mass extinction at the end of the Permian Age about 252 million years ago. The End-Permian Extinction, also known as the Permian Triassic Extinction event and the Great Dying, is the largest mass extinction event in Earth's history. The catastrophe killed off nearly 96% of all marine species on the planet over the course of thousands of years. The main cause of the extinction is generally thought to be linked to severe environmental perturbations caused by eruptions in a volcanic system called the Siberian Traps. Many of the eruptions occurred not in cone-shaped volcanoes, but through gapping fissures in the ground or cracks in the ground. The eruptions ignited vast deposits of coal, releasing mercury vapor high into the atmosphere. Eventually, it rained down into the marine sediment around the planet, creating an elemental signature of a catastrophe that would herald the age of dinosaurs. Volcanic activities, including emissions of volcanic gases and combustion of organic matter, released abundant mercury to the surface of the Earth, said study lead author Dr. Jun Shen, a researcher at the China University of Geosciences. Typically, when you have large explosive volcanic eruptions, a lot of mercury is released into the atmosphere, added University of Cincinnati's Professor Thomas Algeo, co-author of the study. Mercury is a relatively new indicator for researchers. It has become a hot topic for investigating volcanic influences on major events in Earth's history. Researchers use the sharp fossilized teeth of lamprey-like creatures called conodonts to date the rock in which mercury was deposited. Like most other creatures on the planet, conodonts were decimated by the catastrophe. Siberian Traps eruptions spewed so much material in the air, particularly greenhouse gases, that it warmed the planet by an average of 10 degrees. Warming climate likely would have been one of the biggest culprits in the mass extinction, but acid rain would have spoiled many bodies of water and raised the acidity of the global oceans. The warmer water would have had more dead zones from a lack of dissolved oxygen. Likewise, the Earth was slow to recover from the disaster because the ongoing disturbances continued to wipe out biodiversity. Mercury's signature provides convincing evidence that the Siberian Trap eruptions were responsible for the catastrophe, Dr. Shen said.
So my exploded Earth hypothesis appears to, the more information that comes out, the more it appears likely that my exploded Earth hypothesis is true. The Permian extinction 252 million years ago was caused by the destruction of our planet. Our planet had been much larger, had suffered an explosion where part of it was knocked free. The remaining pieces spun together and ultimately became our planet, the planet Earth. It recovered. But for hundreds of thousands of years, it was just a spinning ball of cracks, revolved around molten lava. Very little life existed or could continue to exist. Good science, you make a hypothesis and you predict certain things and you wait to see what will happen. In mine, obviously, magma or hot magma from the destruction would be one of the predictions you would expect, and it turns out that's exactly what's true. It appears to me the more information we get, the more my exploded Earth hypothesis is accurate. Any pro or con comments, I'd love to hear them. Other than that, thanks for watching. Everybody have a great day.